They thought the resistance had ended. They are heavily mistaken.
So, with Hamas severely weakened and Hezbollah cut off from Iran by the Syrian rebel takeover, are the Houthis Iran's last capable action against Israel?
I'm joined in the studio still by Dan Perry, international affairs analyst. And on the topic of the Houthis, Dan, look, they've continued their attacks as other fronts in this war have quieted or collapsed. The U.S. made some welcoming offensive effort in the last couple of days, not sure how effective, but this group is still disrupting Red Sea shipping. They're still attacking Israel, seemingly at will. Is this the next arena of offensive effort by Israel? And on the U.S. side here, is President Trump incoming now? Is he the geopolitical disruptor already that affecting this situation? Do we expect to see more from him?
I think so, as indeed he has clearly disrupted Iran and Lebanon and Syria, every other front also. Look, about the Houthis, they're criminals, okay? Yemen has a per capita income of around $600. Israel is almost 100 times more. The Houthis, the war the Houthis have imposed upon, not Lebanon, Yemen, the war the Houthis have imposed upon Yemen has killed almost 500,000 people, most by disease, but also in fighting. Instead of doing their best to bring this nation back on its feet, they're spending many millions, firing sophisticated hypersonic ballistic missiles at Israel that can crush them. It's madness. I don't know if they're directly taking their orders from Iran. We just saw the Iranians celebrating their big success. But I do know that it's in the nature of ridiculous things that they eventually come to an end. Now, the world has been a little bit reluctant about schooling the Houthis the way they need to be because, well, we know they're fanatics. We know that Iran is pulling the strings to a degree. They're tough to get to because they have dispersed their missile launchers all over the place.
Mountainous and rural place that they...
Yeah, it wouldn't be easy. I mean, I think we need to be a little bit humble and remember that the Saudis were fighting the Houthis for like 7-8 years and failed to dislodge them, despite the U.S. assistance that they received. That said, though, these miscreants are badly impeding global maritime trade. They've caused Egypt to lose billions of dollars in revenue from the Suez Canal, which Egypt can ill afford, and there will come a point where they will need to be attacked very seriously. And it is, a strike against the Biden administration that this has been tolerated. I mean,
the U.S.
Biden's foreign policy
playing whack-a-mole defense.
A little bit, but you know what? More could have been done.
Yes.
These half-hearted airstrikes that achieved less than Israel did in its one serious strike on the port of Hodeidah.
Is that where you expect now a new Trump administration probably to take a different tack?
Or maybe Biden himself. Yeah. Biden still has a month or more. I would expect that a coalition arises, and hopefully it need not involve Israel, that puts an end to the madness represented by the Houthis, who sort of are the last man standing for the axis of resistance.
And again, as you mentioned, the region's poorest country. If this is what remains in the axis, perhaps things are headed in the right direction.
One thing that must be said is that the Houthis were actually, they had the chutzpah to actually be planning to invade Israel, or maybe even Jordan, or maybe Israel through Jordan, by deploying in Syria, along with the Shiite militias from Iraq and also Hezbollah for a time, and obviously Iranian operatives. And Bashar Assad didn't attack Israel directly, but he enabled this. Presumably, the new authorities in Syria are not going to allow the Houthis that avenue to attacking Israel. They're doing Iran's bidding against Israel, and so maybe this the rocket they fired was lashing out against the dying of the jihadi light.
We shall see. Dan Perry, as always, good to have you with us. Thanks for chiming in on all the topics.